says, I need this. Good. All right. So, again, anyone can watch the channel, but if you are especially a spiritual woman and you have concerns about your reproductive system, your kidney, your bladder, sexuality, emotions, and creativity, then you want to keep watching, okay? Those are the main areas the sacral chakra covers. All right, and I might repeat that. Like I said, folks will come in, they never come right at the beginning, and sometimes YouTube doesn't notify right away, and that's fine. So I may repeat that. So I am so glad you're here. In fact, let me know, do you have interest in reproductive system, kidney or bladder issues? Let me know in the comments. That would be really helpful. Or with creativity, do you feel like maybe your creativity is blocked? And your emotions, especially healing the emotions. I know that's a really big one. Okay, let me know in the comments. Don't be shy. Especially some of you, it doesn't really identify who you are. You know, it's just so share. Thanks for the heart, Dolores. Yes, bladder issues. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so also I want to let you guys know that I do have a new video that you should check out. Hang on here, let's adjust the camera. I have a new video about whether chakras are too open or too closed. Okay, so check that out. In fact, let me know, have you seen that in the comments? Okay, that was, I think, my most recent video, I think, whether your chakras are too open or closed. And there are different ways to tell. And I basically give you the way to figure that out. Okay, so check out that video, please, if you're interested in the chakras. All right. And let me know if you want me to do a video on whether, like, taking you through each chakra, like, is the root chakra too blocked or too open? What would be the symptoms? You know, is the heart chakra too blocked or too open? Let me know in the comments on the side, in the chat, or below the video, okay? I'd really appreciate that, and I would make those videos. That would be 7 videos, one on each chakra, how to know if they're too open or if they're more closed down. All right, so let me know if you're interested in that. All right, so it's 4:05. I am going to get started. Actually, I'm going to read the comments first. Yeah, well, Envy. So watch the video that talks about how to know if the chakra is too open or if it's blocked. Okay, because I think it's like a 10-minute video, so it's very watchable. Okay, so the topic for this, because I do want to stay on topic, because again, welcome to those of you who are watching this on the replay, and welcome to those of you who are just arriving. So this specifically who I'm addressing is, because my channel is for women who want to thrive up to and past 45 specifically. Right? I like to say prime of life goddesses, but of course everyone can watch. But especially if you're a woman, a spiritual woman who has issues with her reproductive system, like things like fibroids and cysts, okay? Super, super common, okay? Sacral chakra, that's what I'm going to be sharing with you, all right? So I'm just letting you know if you're just tuning in. If you have issues with kidneys, bladder issues, kidney and bladder issues, that's also the second chakra, the sacral chakra, right? Sounds like sacred. Emotions, if your emotions are very volatile at times, right? And who amongst us doesn't necessarily have volatile emotions? But for some people, it's really pronounced, right? You know, like we all know some people who it's emotional. Their first reaction is emotion, you know, whether it's going to be tears and just drama, okay? So that relates to the second chakra as well. A friend of mine recently called the chakras antennae to, I think she said antennae to spirit, something like that. Like, and I love that. I love that. It connects us out to others and to other beings and to sort of the cosmic energy, the energy that is around us. So the first way to begin to heal. So this is about, it doesn't matter whether the chakra is too open or too closed. These are ways to create balance. Okay, so the first way is dance. For the sacral chakra, dance or movement. The best types, in fact, let me know in the comments, what do you think would be the best types, given that the sacral chakra is located below the belly button and above the genitals, so right in between. So let me see in the chat if you have any ideas. Okay. Yes, hello, welcome. So dance, specifically belly dance, any African dance, belly dance or African dance, dance that moves specifically the pelvis and the hips. That is going to bring blood and circulation and your awareness to that area, to that womb area. So belly dance, types of African dance would be a way to begin tapping into the sacral chakra. Okay, so that's number one. Yes, lots of hip motion, and it's very healing. If you look at a lot of traditional cultures, they have dances that specifically are like stomping, moving the hips, very sensual, brings blood, brings circulation to the sacral area. So for both men and women, very, very important. Okay, so that's the first. The second one are crystals. I'm going to give you some crystals. I'm just going to name 3 in this video, and I will break out each thing in its own individual video. Okay, so just so you know that. This is just like, boom, taking you through, so you kind of have this information. So the crystals I would recommend are carnelian. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you already have some carnelian. The second crystal is moonstone, and one that makes a lot of sense, coral. Okay, coral. So carnelian, moonstone, or coral would be great crystals to work with healing the sacral chakra, the second chakra, which is called svadhisthana, translates as sweetness. So again, having to do with sensuality, sexuality, the senses, taste. So it's a very sensual chakra. Reproduction, water issues, fluids in the body, you guys. So not just like water literally out in the world, but in the body, blood, reproductive fluids, saliva, everything liquid in the body is this chakra. So you've got those crystals, carnelian, moonstone, coral. The third and fourth ways are kind of big, you guys, and I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I can't. Heal your physical issues. So if you have kidney or bladder issues or reproductive issues, working on how to heal them will help heal the chakra. So for example, even having surgery, if you choose to have surgery, say on a cyst or a fibroid, that's going to affect that chakra because you're doing something that removes that blockage or that issue. Okay, so heal your physical issues. However, so obviously there are many, many ways to heal physically. Western medicine, there could be herbs you could try. There could be acupuncture, right? There are a lot of different things that might support you. Now, I'm not a doctor. I want to say that here because everything is so, especially in the US, it's all about like lawsuits and stuff, which is ridiculous. So I am not a physician. This is metaphysical information, and this is from my own study and understanding as well as ancient texts. Okay, it is not Western medical. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you got that. Let's see. Hi, Keishan. Hi, Dolores and Nirvana. Nice. Pinsy. I don't know, Pinsy, if I'm saying your name right. So welcome, welcome. Well, I'm up to the third. So heal your physical issues however you can. That will help with that second chakra if they're related. So if you have fibroids, I'm going to mention that a lot because that's an issue I'm very familiar with, and clients, and it's just very, very common. So that is related to this second chakra. Okay, let's see, let's go on. The fourth thing is heal your emotional issues. How could you do that? Okay, therapy. Different therapies. There's so many different styles of psychotherapy. Then there's all sorts of like psycho-spiritual therapies. I wrote EFT. And of course, working with the chakras can really help you sort of unblock the emotional baggage that is stored in the second chakra. Okay. So working with the chakras themselves can help you heal the emotions. You could heal your emotions with like journaling and psychotherapy, or, emotional freedom technique and therapy. So that's something you have to figure out. Okay. That's something you would have to figure out. But basically, healing physical issues that are related to that chakra and healing the emotional manifestations of imbalance would then help the chakra because it's a circle. Okay. It is a circle. Everything is connected. Okay. The fifth. Okay. So now we're getting more into some fun stuff, right? 3 and 4 were a little heavy and long term. Okay. Make an altar. So make an altar that has to do with water. With flow, with sensuality. So you might put whatever spiritual beings or, whatever your spiritual beliefs are. Actually, Yemaya might be a good goddess for putting on your altar. Any deity that connects with water, with the sea, with flow, with sensuality. Aphrodite, if you're doing that tradition. So the altar, you guys, does not have to be like orange, coral in color, vermilion. When I think of water, I think of blue, right? A lot of us in the West, you think of blue. So it's fine. Put blue, put ocean, put a sensual image there on the altar. And then you can sit at that altar and do work around this chakra. Okay. So how does that sound? Yes. Ocean. Yes. Okay. Do what works in your, in your belief, your pantheon. Okay. So create an altar and then sit at that altar and tune into spirit. Okay. But it's giving you like a place where you can do this work. All right. The sixth way to heal and unblock the sacral chakra is yoga, specifically yoga that has to do with the hips. And I'm going to give you a tip that not a lot of yoga teachers know. So kidney and bladder are what are linked. Those are the meridians that are linked with this chakra, because even though the kidneys are higher, the water system, okay, links with the second chakra as well as the first. The first and second chakra, you guys, are very, very close and intimately intertwined. So understand that it's not, again, this sort of Western, like, well, this is that and that is that. They're all intertwined. They're all like flowing together through your body. And the one below affects the one above. Okay. They're like different layers and levels of consciousness. And so what happens here affects this one and then affects that one. Okay. So don't think of them as totally separate, like blocks, like chunks. That's not how they are. They're energetic. And I like to think of it almost like seaweed. They're very flowing and interconnected. So back to that altar. Yeah. Yoga. So a yoga that's kind of fluid, that's kind of sensual, that gets you into your body. Okay. Is really important. And the secret, what I was going to say, is forward bends. Because forward bends, you guys, there's a meridian called the bladder meridian. Meridian means it's a pathway for subtle energy. And it runs down your head, down the neck, and along the spine in 2 columns. Okay, so these, and I'm going to link these in the future, these meridians are called nadis in the yoga tradition. And that's how the energy flows. So you're not just your chakras, and then there's nothing in the rest of your body. There are chakras and energy points throughout, and there are pathways for the energy to flow. So a chakra is really just where a lot of these nadis cross. Okay, so it's almost like Grand Central Station, but there are other littler stations and there's connections, right? I actually like that analogy. Think of a train station, right? Especially those of you from big cities. So there are different stations, right? But they have to connect somehow. Okay, so there's pathways connecting them. So yoga that works on this bladder meridian. So things like forward bends, where you like put your legs straight out in front of you, you lift your arms up and you exhale and you fold forward. It's called Paschimottanasana, head to knee pose. Any forward bend is going to stretch and activate that meridian, which works on the kidney and bladder energy. Okay, so this is some stuff, like I said, a lot of yoga teachers don't have that background to bring it in. So that's what I would do with yoga. Okay, the 7th one to activate the sacral chakra is pleasure. In the world, this chakra, if you are a person in the world, you're not a monk or nun, then yes, it's sort of turning towards the world. So increase the pleasure and joy in your life. So again, give me a thumbs up or say yes in the chat if you know that you push a lot with your work, you work multiple jobs, okay, you have to, you study, you go to school and you work, things like that. So often we cut out pleasure. And again, I'm speaking to a female audience here, especially. To include pleasure is really, really important. Okay. So look at your life. For example, if you have issues with fibroids, do you find that if you really look at your life and if you were really honest, you don't have to tell me here in the chat or anybody on YouTube, do you have joy in your life? Do you do things that are pleasurable every day? Okay, that's often not the case. So the seventh way to help heal this chakra is to literally be like, I'm going to do things that bring me joy. Okay, whatever that is, right? And I'll touch on some other things that can connect with that, right? If yoga brings you joy, then start doing more yoga, and you're kind of coming at it from multiple directions. Again, does that make sense? I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. Yeah. A lot of us in the West, this is fact compared to other parts of the world, we work very, very hard. Our value is often linked to how productive we are. This is just a fact. You know, when you ask somebody, how are you doing? Now, this is before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, how are you doing? Oh, I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You know, I got the kids. I've got this job. Then I've got this other job and I'm going back to school. It's about busyness. Okay. So that starts to negate. If you just said, wow, I spent the day fishing, you know? Yeah, I went fishing and then I kind of laid out on my lawn and just took in the sun, you know, it was beautiful. You know, you can't say that too many times to people. They'll start thinking, he or she really doesn't do very much, right? There's a judgment around it, you guys. So this ties into a lot of deeper issues. So putting pleasure and joy back into your life, things that you enjoy, not what other people tell you you should enjoy. Okay. The eighth way is meditation. You know, I have to include meditation. It is, I didn't do this in any order, but meditation, and I'm going to give you two types of meditation. And again, I'm going to flesh all of these out in separate videos. But the eighth way to work with the sacral chakra is body scan meditation. Why body scan? A body scan is where, and I just uploaded one as well. Look for that, for body scan. You basically, like you're looking at your body, almost like you're x-raying it with your consciousness. And you go through you can go from your feet up or from your head down, and you just literally scan and feel what's happening in your body. And you just go through bit by bit, and it's usually very pleasant. So body scan meditation, because that's going to bring you into your body. And again, that quality of, it's a sensual, it'll put you in touch with your body and what you're sensing. But even stronger type of meditation, you guys, sorry, I got to stretch my legs out, is doing the bija mantra. So what is a bija mantra? Bija means root, like a seed. Sorry, it means seed. So the bija mantra for this second chakra is VUM. So I'm going to repeat it a few times. VUM, 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 VUM. And you would repeat it silently or out loud while focusing on the location of the chakra. Okay, that is, in my understanding, the strongest way to affect the chakra. It's literally working it's not psychological, it's working with sound, and sound is very, very powerful, just the way light is powerful. You can harness sound. That's an ancient way to work with the sacral chakra. So that is number 8. Okay, number 9, self-nurturing, to do with water. So things like baths, soaking baths, we all know how good we feel with that, but specifically the chakra that's going to affect the most is the second chakra, is the sacral chakra. Swimming. Now, I'm not talking about competitive swimming, okay? You got that, right? It's not about that like drive and ambition. That is the third chakra, which I will do. I've actually done one of these on. I'll say more at the end. So self-nurturing using water. Baths, swimming, luxuriating in water. Last summer, I had a beautiful stream by me, you guys, and I would just go. It's kind of goofy because I'm not a big swimmer. I grew up in the city. Okay, let me know if anybody here is pretty urban. And we didn't, my parents were like, you're not going to those swimming pools. All sorts of crazy stuff happens, right? And, I'm an introvert as well. And my parents are like, no public pools. A lot of things happen to girls in public pools. Okay, you're not doing that. And I didn't even really want to. So what I was doing last year, though, I would just go to this stream. It's a very popular stream, but it's very quiet, very tranquil. And I would just lay, you guys, there were rocks, like there literally was like a seat in the stream, and I would just be sitting there and I'd read a book. And it was it was delicious. The sun's beating down, the water, and it's just, you're comfortable. I'm propped up. My back is propped up. I would get out of that water and I would feel cleansed. Okay. So A lot of these things, I'm telling you, do not have to cost you money. I know a lot of, some of my viewers, some of my tribe, money might be tight right now. That's fine. A lot of these, you do not have to have a lot of money to do. Okay, so that's really important. The final two, number 10 and number 11, are related. Abyanga. Oh, I'm going to stop and read a comment while you think about that. That is a great, Florida water is the water in the bottle that's more like this cleansing water. I don't know a lot about Florida water. My shamanic group, I believe, like my teacher there has Florida water in a bottle, but I'm sorry, I'm not that familiar with it. But any liquid specifically goes with this chakra, okay? So Abyanga, what is Abyanga? Abyanga is oil massage. All right. And like I said, I will be doing a video on this. Oil massage, especially in the colder months, right? For a lot of you that are in the US with me, is very, very healing. So one, it has that sensual aspect of tuning you into your body. And Abyanga is using warm oil and all over the body. You let it sit for a little while because in Ayurveda, and I've seen this anecdotally, your skin absorbs it, but they say it even affects the nerves. So it doesn't just sit on your skin, you guys. It isn't about moisturizing per se. It really is nourishing your body at a deeper level. They believe that the oil is literally absorbed in. And so that's Abyanga. Sorry, guys, my cat's probably destroying something. And I will make a video on that. Different types of people should do different Abyanga. If you're a Pitta type, I'm a Pitta type. I run hot. Vata type, they run a little cooler. They should use a different oil. And I'll get into that in the following videos. But you can also just Google that. And I will also put a link, you guys, not in the chat, but give me a half hour. I will put a link to a site that has a lot of these products, that has the oils for Abyanga. And the 11th to help heal this chakra is acupressure. So I am a licensed massage therapist and I specialize in acupressure shiatsu. Shiatsu just means finger pressure. That's the Japanese, the word for it, shiatsu. So thumb and finger pressure. But we call it acupressure in the US, in the West, a lot. And so what it is you could do points that have to do with kidney, bladder, and the reproductive system. So one, I'll just throw out a few. The main one, and I'm not going to hold up my foot because my friend is probably watching and he absolutely hates feet and he would tune out. And so I'm not going to do that. But you can look up kidney 1. It is a point that will help the energy flow to the kidneys, really crucial point, and it is on the sole of your foot. It's about a third of the way down. Again, if this were a recorded video, I would pop a picture here for you, but I can't do that since it's live. But again, I'm going to break all of these out in separate videos. So acupressure, specific points for kidney and bladder. The points that relate specifically for women, also, there's a point called spleen 6 or 3 yin junction. I don't want to get too esoteric on you. 3 yin junction. And it's on the inner ankle. It's 4 finger widths up from your ankle bone. This is not a good point if someone is pregnant, especially early in the pregnancy. It's a point that, if pressed really strongly and for a long time, can actually start to bring on contractions, okay? So that's how powerful these points are. So that point, spleen 6, is not good for women who are pregnant. But it is a good point for the reproductive energy. So there are things you could do with those points as well, okay? So kidney 1, you can look that up. On the sole of the foot, and 3 yin junction, or spleen 6, which is on the inner ankle, right in from the bone, and it's 4 finger widths up from your ankle bone. Okay, so I will say more about this in follow-up videos. And also, if you'd like to work with me, I work with clients specifically, giving them specific meditation, specific healing techniques, whether physical or more emotional techniques. Okay, so that is available to you. Check out my website, which is intheflowofmagic.com. Now, I think I will take some questions at this point, if you have any questions at this point that I can answer. And I will say that, yeah, that's the 11 main methods for healing, unblocking the sacral chakra, the second chakra. And again, this chakra for us women, last thing I want to say, I think is key for money. A lot of you focus on the root chakra, like all my root chakra videos do really, really well. And I think in general around YouTube. But I believe that for women, the second chakra has to do with money almost more than the first. And here's why. The second chakra very much has to do with desires. And what is money? I know everybody's like, money is energy, but money is also a representation of meeting your desire, right? I feel like nobody ever says this. If you want to buy 3 cakes and some wine and some this, and you need money. So money is what can bring you different desires. And that desire and that the sensualness of meeting desires is the second chakra. And I think for women, the second chakra is more linked with money. And if we have trouble bringing in money, okay? I think it's different for men. I think for men, money is more first chakra, okay? It's just a different energy that they bring to money. Okay, and to attract and to getting money, to going after money. I feel with women, and this is what I want to teach more in the fall, it's about attracting, it's about receiving. And so if you have trouble receiving energetically, emotionally, that links into being able to receive money. Okay, so getting a little esoteric here, but that is my my sort of discovery with the chakras and with money. So let me know, are you dealing with fibroids? That is looked at as a chakra that would be blocked, okay? So I was explaining this in a recording I just did, you guys, with my friend who runs an herbal school in Vermont, and I was recording an interview with her. I want to talk a little, let me know if you want me to talk a little bit about that, about the reproductive aspect and the sacral chakra. Let me know in the chat that you want me to do that, or I'll end, can end right here because we're at about a half hour. Okay, let me know, type something, let me know you're alive, okay? Again, you guys, all I see myself, I'm basically talking to myself, and then my little camera is like there. So let me know that you're here, let me know that you're engaged, or I can just stop and go out and sit in the sun right now. So, yes, Pincy, okay. Yeah, so fibroids. Fibroids. Okay, so I am not saying that they're not physical causes of fibroids. Diet is one. But of course, diet has to do with many things. It has to do with family patterns of eating. It has to do with access to fresh food, yes. But a lot of it is a lot of our choices. And we all know, ladies, you know this, we eat emotionally, right? Emotion, second chakra. Food is a comfort. Food can be a type of self-love. And then, of course, in excess. So the understanding of this in sort of holistic understanding is that fibroids are what is called ama. Ama is almost basically like gunk. That's the best way to describe it. And if any of you have read about what fibroids are composed of, it's like tissue, it's fat, it's fluid, it's basically gunk. The Ayurvedic understanding is that fibroids especially are linked to poor digestion, poor liver function, because the liver goddess breaks down your hormones. You know, it breaks down. It has to do with hormone production, but also getting rid of waste is what I mean to say. The liver is super, super important. So if you eat a lot of high-fat food, a lot of fried foods, and not a lot of fresh vegetables and things with fiber, things that we all know are healthier, whatever diet you're on, whether you're doing keto or paleo or whatever, or vegan, but deep, things that are fried in bad oils, the body can't break that down. The liver can't clear out the toxins. We start to basically store things. And a fibroid in this holistic understanding is basically a storage. And what I said to my friend in the interview is that the body is so intelligent, because look at what it's doing. It's finding the space that you can, in the womb, where it can literally store this stuff, right? Where can I put this where it won't cause this woman harm? So that's like almost the intelligence of your body. It's doing the best it can. So I think that's really beautiful, because the body is always seeking balance. Always. Okay. That's what I really want you guys to get from this, even talking about the chakras. The body is always trying to balance. So the idea is that when there's all basically toxins building up, it needs to be gotten out. But if the liver can't break it down and the kidneys can't break it down and excrete it, the body will start to store it. Okay. And the safest place is the uterus. Okay. Check out Queen Afua. I know a lot of you probably know her books. She has, I think it's called Sacred Circle. Oh gosh. I will have all these links below. I have a Amazon store and I have her book in there. It is wonderful for women who are wanting to heal specifically physical symptoms, especially reproductive. Okay. Queen Afua, check her out. Really, really knowledgeable in that area. And so I think I am going to wrap up there. Everything is holistic. So what I want to say to you is, don't think that, wow, I'm going to get carnelian and then I'm going to heal my second chakra. That's not how it works. Okay. Everything has to be holistic. I recently said to a client of mine who was doing some not good things in their lifestyle, but they love to come to me for shiatsu. And so what I said to them is, I said, it's like somebody who's abusing drugs. Okay. You're going to like this analogy. It's like somebody who's on drugs who takes vitamins. Okay. Are the vitamins going to help? Sure. I'm sure the vitamin you're taking is going to help, but getting off like heroin is going to be still needed for the vitamin to have the good effect. Okay. The person wasn't on heroin, but I'm just giving an example. Okay. So this is important. It's all holistic. It's all holistic. So maybe you choose to increase your dance, dancing at home. You start to do some yoga or some belly dance. You start to meditate. Then you have a chance of creating change. So no one thing is going to be the magic bullet. Though, as I said, the meditation with the Bija mantra would be the most powerful. But you've got to look at things like your diet, your lifestyle, your stress level. All of that is important. Oh gosh. So now folks are joining as I'm getting ready to wrap up. But those of you just joining, just start at the beginning. I shared some great information, 11 ways to heal, unblock, and clear the sacral chakra. And I will break all of these out in separate videos. So activating the second chakra post-menopause. Well, it's still active. A chakra isn't, what may happen, and my understanding is that the other energy centers may become more active, right? Because menopause, in some ways, it's like that energy is diminishing a little bit. So you would still do the same practices that I mentioned, right? And I also often recommend herbs. I will put a link below the video, not in the chat, but once I'm off live, I'll put a link to a company that has wonderful herbs for women, menopausal, postmenopausal. But everything I mentioned, Goddess, of these 11 ways would still be in play for a woman who's menopausal. Absolutely. Yes, Sacred Woman. Thank you. Yeah, Sacred Woman by Queen Afua. If you're specifically focused on the second chakra because of physical issues, like I said, emotional issues, if you get really emotional, this is still the chakra. So maybe you don't have physical manifestations, or maybe you have tiny fibroids. Many women, you guys have fibroids and don't even know. So that's wonderful if they're not bothering you. But it might manifest as emotional volatility, right? You get really upset easily. Your emotions are up and down, okay? And when does that also happen? It happens a lot with menopause. So this sacral chakra is very, very important. Okay, that's interesting, amateur sage. Yes, no, I get that. I would say use some organic, what? Yeah, keep it natural. Sure. Somebody's saying that they use weed and they do qigong. Yeah, actually, well, of course, I'm not advocating drug use, but I could see how that can work for someone. Mellowing, and then the qigong is moving this subtle energy that I'm talking about. Yeah, qigong, you guys, would be more similar to yoga in terms of that working with that internal energy. So yeah, Very powerful as well, Qigong. Yes, Dolores, you need to meditate. Hello, Elena. Just as I'm about to close. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. This was live. So again, forgive any ums and ahs. In a filmed video, I edit all that out and I put little pictures popping up and everything and effects, but it's live. So it's just me. It's Viv here. So please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. You probably are. If you're watching this, you're probably already a subscriber. So I thank you for that. I'm about to hit 11,000 subs. So I just really want to appreciate those of you who've been here since the beginning of my channel. I really appreciate you. And so do watch out for this series on the ways to heal the sacral chakra. Oh, and last thing, I will be doing a course. The course will be an investment. I will be teaching it live via Zoom in a closed group, and I will take you through all of the chakras in depth. And so if you want to know more about that, again, look below the video in about a half hour. I need time to put all the links up, okay? Once I close, I got to put all these different links, come back, join my tribe. I send out a weekly newsletter, and you'll be the first to know about the chakra course. I'm aiming for September for the chakra course, okay? For women. I have a specific idea in mind of it's for women who, because I drew cards on this and Spirit said to me, it's for women who want to know how to follow their dream. Maybe they feel a little bit off track with the purpose, with their life purpose. So this is going to be a big course, okay, about life purpose, about following your dreams, about sharing your gifts with the world and how to align with that. So it will be an investment. I will be teaching it live over many weeks. So join my email list, and you'll be the first to hear of it. And I might run a beta group. So the beta group would get a discount on the chakra course. So much love. Stay blessed, and please give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already. All right. Bye, guys.